Hi everyone, Jarrod Nickel, Executive Director for ProjectCoe.com here, and today I'm going to take a look at one of the biggest titles released for the Xbox 360 in all of 2008, Gears of War 2. Now, I'm a little bit different than some of the other media outlets out there in that I actually found certain parts of Gears of War 2 to be a little bit disappointing and a little bit, I don't know, a little bit too different from the original for my liking, but at the same time, some of the improvements have been truly worthwhile. So let's jump on in with this. To start off with, there's now an actual storyline. Gears of War 1 was a lot like the original Halo, where you weren't really told too much of what the heck was going on. Now there's quite a bit of drama in the storyline. For example, Dom's wife has gone missing, and you're sort of trying to look for her while you're still trying to save humanity. Basically, there's one human city left, Jacinto, that the Locusts are about to basically destroy, or at least that's their plan, and it's up to the humans to basically call to arms and have one final strike against the Locust. The only problem I have with the storyline is that it doesn't really fit too well, especially with drama. I mean, you all know what these characters look like. They're huge, bulking guys, and to have this sort of like sensitive side to it, I didn't find it, I don't know, I just didn't find it too compelling. It's supposed to be like, you know, like, let's kick some ass sort of deal. And I mean, for the main storyline, yes, it works fantastically well, but overall, I think you'll be like me and you'll find that the story basically leaves you off with more questions than it actually answers. For gameplay, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Don't forget that you can always log on to ProjectCoe.com for full details here. But for the gameplay, it pretty well plays identically to the original Gears of War. It's still a cover-based action shooter. It's still, you know, it still plays, like I say, almost exactly the same. There are a few tweaks. For example, the cover system has been tweaked in such a way that it's a lot easier to move from one cover to the next with a lot less sort of hiccups in the system compared to the first. Now, that's not to say that it's perfect. There are still a couple of instances where, you know, you'll have a little bit of trouble going from, say, like some rock structure to another one or something like that. One big improvement made has been to the revival mechanic. So basically what happens now is if you're shot to the point where you're about to die, you can move around by tapping the A button and your teammates will quickly come to you and save your life. Now I gotta make mention of this. The AI in this game is utterly fantastic. I was really surprised. These guys are gonna save your life more often than not. I mean, there are, you know, a few times where they'll just be staring off in the distance as you're sort of begging them to, like, come on, save me! But, you know, c'est la vie. Something else that's new is finishing moves. This is kind of interesting, and it works both ways, same as the revival mechanic. The Locusts can also use that, so you got to make sure that when you kill these guys, you either shoot them again while they're crawling around trying to get revived, or you run up to them and you use a couple of the face buttons, and you can do one of three different sort of finishing moves. You can bust their head open, or you can use your gun and just sort of, like, you know, crush their skull like that. It's kind of interesting. Another new gameplay feature is the achievement tracker. Now this is really unique, and hopefully will be used in many other 360 games down the road. The way it works is, as you're slowly progressing to an achievement, a little on-screen identifier comes up to let you know exactly how close you are to achieving that next achievement. For example, let's say you had to kill, like, I don't know, like 100,000 locusts or something. As you hit certain milestones, say like 500, 750, stuff like that, a little pop-up will let you know just how close you are to receiving that next achievement. And so that's pretty cool. Okay, when you take all of these things together, I did find that the difficulty was a little bit unbalanced. Now, if you play the game on normal, like we do for any of our reviews, just because that is ideally what the developer expects you to be playing it on, I found it to be a complete cakewalk. I can only imagine what the quote-unquote easy mode would be like. I don't really have one particular reason why it's easier, but there's a few things. For example, the revival system does make it easier because the AI is so strong that, you know, you'll be brought back to life. Even if you play on insane, you'll be brought back to life relatively frequently. The other thing is the new environments. They're a lot more open this time around, so you don't feel as confined. There's no more swarms, so if you go into, say, like darkness and night levels and stuff like that, you don't instantly die. Thinking of which, I don't even think there is a night level in this one. But I do have one thing that I really have to sort of complain about, and that's the very final chapter of the final act. It's a complete and utter disappointment. I think all of you will agree with me on that. Gears of War 1 was so fantastic with the final boss, Ram, that, you know, when you see, I don't want to spoil it, but when you see the final boss in the final area, you're just going to be left going, what the heck, is that it? So that was kind of disappointing. Something that was not disappointing were the new weapons. Man, some of these things are just absolutely amazing, like the Mulcher. It's basically a minigun that you can flip over onto ledges, or you can just stand out in the open and you sort of almost like hide behind it, and it'll plow through enemies like you wouldn't believe. There's a couple of other really good ones. Something else that's kind of neat is the grenades now can be used like proximity mines, which is totally awesome. You're able to actually run up to different locusts and actually like slap on a grenade on them and watch them go like, oh no, boom, and just explode everywhere, which is, you know, fantastic. But you're also able to put the grenades on walls and things like that, so as they walk by, they'll just set them off. It's pretty cool stuff. And again, these improvements are more than welcome. Something else that's really good is the online multiplayer mode. It basically contains all the different modes that you'd expect from Gears of War 1, including the King of the Hill one from the PC version of Gears of War. And there's also 3 new ones, one called Submission, Guardian, and Wingman. Again, you can go on Project COE for full details on all these different modes. I don't want to be, you know, yammering here forever. But there's a new hybrid multiplayer mode. What that means is it's sort of... it's not one of these modes where you attack each other. You sort of pair up together and you take on wave after wave of locust scum. It's called a Horde, and this thing is awesome. It's really unique in that it's sort of like almost like a co-op mode with up to 5 players, except that it's obviously not. It's just wave after wave after wave of different locusts that just get more and more powerful as each round goes by, and I believe you have to survive something like 40 rounds to master it, which is pretty sick. Alright, so all of these things again put together and you have yourself a really top quality AAA shooter on the Xbox 360. It's really a fantastic game. It's just that there are some elements that I preferred from the original Gears. And then, of course, a lot of these tweaks that I've mentioned are utterly fantastic, and if you go back to the original Gears, you would find it tough to play. Now, as for graphics and audio, the game looks absolutely stunning. They haven't really, how can I say this, taken it to the next level in terms of animations or polygon counts or anything like that. I mean, the characters, for the most part, look exactly like they did in Gears of War 1, but what is different is all these new environments. You are no longer confined to small little sections or having, you know, vast night levels where you can't really see what the heck is going on. Now you've got these huge vistas that are completely opened up. You've got mountain ranges. You can see cities falling apart as you're traversing them. All kinds of great stuff. Same with the audio. The soundtrack is utterly fantastic. While some of the spoken dialogue is kind of questionable, again, that relates back into the storyline. It's kind of, you know, iffy there. The actual sounds coming from the guns sound like they're going to rip you apart. The music soundtrack is absolutely great. The themes play out during key scenes will make you really, you know, grab your controller and be like, okay, let's end this sort of deal. Overall, if you own an Xbox 360, this is without a doubt one of the very best games you can pick up. It'll definitely make naysayers of the 360 look again, and I've given the game a 9.3 on 10, and that's all I'm saying. So you guys race out there right now and pick it up. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you soon.